Hey, kids! Well, we had a nice few weeks here, haven't we? But it's great to see you here. For those of you that might not know me, I'm Mr. Charlie. And I'm here at the zoo today, where there's all sorts of really cool animals that everybody has been setting out so that we can learn more about all of the really cool animals in God's kingdom. We got zebras, we got lions, we got giraffes, we got possums, pigs, bunny rabbits. And the best part about it, all of these animals are completely coronavirus free, so you can touch them all you want to. So, while we're learning about all these awesome animals today, I thought I would share with you one that is really cool, and it's called... Now, there is no need to be scared of Sam the snake here. He is quite harmless, and he's very nice. As a matter of fact, you can see that I can pet him, I can love him, I would lick him, but that's a little weird. But snakes are really interesting animals. And so, I thought I would just share with you something that I think is really cool about them. One thing is that they smell with their tongue. Can you smell with your tongue? See, you can't smell with your tongue. All you can do is taste with your tongue. But Sam the snake here, he does that and he's like, that smells like mouse. No, that's tasty. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go have that. And then he just goes right off and eats it. Why? Because he's Sam the snake, and that's why we like him. But the other thing is that snakes don't have feet, and so they crawl on the ground. They just go crawling and crawling and crawling to get where they want to go while they're tasting around with their tongue. So that made me think about a story that fit right in line with what we've been learning about in the Bible, because we've been learning about all of the Israelites and they're going through the desert. And then God gives them a really great message and he says, I think it's time for you guys to go into the promised land. But something didn't settle so well with those Israelites. And when they said, we're really scared about doing that, something happened with the snakes. So that's what today's story is going to be about. I'm going to put Sam down for now so he can hang out with his buddies. Don't bite me. It's okay. So, today's story is about the Israelites being in the desert where they've been for a little while now since they escaped the Pharaoh. Pharaoh, oh baby, let my people go. Yeah. Okay, so we remember that story. They escape Pharaoh. They get out into the great big desert after they walked right through the middle of the sea. And now they want to know, when do we get to go to our new home? And so they're walking around, and they're walking around, and they're walking around, and they're like, when are we going to get there? And God says, everybody, take a chill pill. So he calls all of them together and he tells Moses, who's the guy leading all of the Israelites, and his brother Aaron, who's also helping to lead all the Israelites, and he gathers them all around. He says, you go and tell all of my people to speak to that rock, and I'm going to make water come out of it so that they can have something to drink. And so they go over there, and the people are just still, this isn't the way I wanted it to be. I wanted to have a couch. I wanted to have a PlayStation. I wanted to play Fortnite. I didn't want to walk around. And so Moses gets really mad. And he took his stick and he whacked the rock with it. And the water came out. But God was like, Moses, what in tarnation are you doing? Now that you've done that, I am not going to let you go to the promised land. And so now we got all the Israelites that have been complaining and fussing and complaining. And God says, none of y'all, nobody gets to go into the promised land. You guys are going to have to walk around in this desert for 40 years. 40 years. Do you know how old you're going to be 40 years from now? If you can add it up, go ahead and add it up and tell your parents how old you're going to be in 40 years. And they're going to say, oh no, that's how old I am right now. I'm really, really old. That's no fun. I don't want to walk around in the desert for 40 years. This is even worse than what I thought it was going to be like. But Moses and Aaron wanted to lead the people no matter what. And they say, we're going to do exactly what God says. Even if it means we don't get to go to the promised land, we're going to do what he says so that someday our people will get to go into the promised land. And so they start walking again. And they're walking. And they're walking until the people, surprise, got tired of walking around again. When you go to PE, don't you want to play what you want to play? And when you go outside, don't you want to play what you want to play? You don't want to play what everybody else tells you to play. You want to go play what you want to play. Well, the Israelites said, I don't want to play walking around in the desert. I want to play now walking into the promised land. But God said, I don't think so. He said, we are going to walk around until it is time for y'all to go in, and I'm going to say when that time is. But they kept complaining, and they kept complaining, and they kept complaining. And so God said, all right, it's time to put everybody in timeout. And so, one day, a bunch of snakes started coming into where all the Israelites were staying. And the snakes were biting at all the people. And they were biting them and biting them and biting them. And people started to get sick and die from the snakes biting them. And now all the people are really freaking out. They're like, what are we going to do now? Now we're walking around in the desert. We got snakes biting us. We don't have a lot of food. We don't have a lot of water. This is just really, really bad. And they didn't know what to do. So they did the only thing they knew how to do. And that was to ask God for help. And so they ask God for help. And they go to Moses and they say, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Moses, doing what Moses usually does, goes, prays to God, says, God, what do we need to do? And so God gave him a great idea. He said, take a snake and put it on a pole and have all of the people that get sick from being bitten by a snake to look at that pole. And if they do, they're going to be just fine. And sure enough, if a person got bitten and they looked up out the pole, all of a sudden they were healed. And the people were amazed. They were like, this is the greatest thing ever. I don't have to pay a copay. I don't have to go see a doctor. I don't have to wait in line for a test. I just look up at the pole and bam, all better. Now, wouldn't that be cool if every time you didn't feel so great, like maybe you had a tummy ache because you ate too much ice cream or too much sugar and you were getting the jitters, if you could just look at something and all of a sudden you would feel better? Man, that would be great. If I think about all the times that I got scratches and bumps and bruises, if all I had to do was just look at something and know that I was going to feel better, that would be great. So the people are looking at the pole and they're getting better. And God says, this is what I have for you guys. You're not feeling well. You're sick. I can do something to help you feel better and to take away the pain that you have. And as long as somebody believed and they looked at the pole, then that pain was going to go away. So, when it comes down to our big question, which is, whom can we trust? The Israelites learned the hard way. We can trust God to take care of us. Every time. If we trust God to take care of us, He is always going to be right there to take care of us. And that's what the Israelites learned. They weren't trusting God. They were complaining to God about everything that wasn't going the way that they wanted it. But when they didn't have anything else that they could turn to and they turned to God, God was right there to take care of them and love them. Which is what we always should try to do. When we don't feel like it's going our way, God wants us to talk to Him and to give Him the chance to speak to us and show us just how much he loves us. So, 3 questions I wanted to ask you guys, and if you know the answer, make sure that you yell it out really loud so that it annoys your parents a whole lot, because the louder you yell, the more annoyed your parents will get and the funnier it will be. So, was it okay for the Israelites to complain? Yell yes or no. And whichever way you answer, yell out really, really loud why you think it was okay. Now for me, I don't think it was okay for them to complain because they had been slaves and they were getting beat up every day by Pharaoh and he had gotten them rescued. So why complain about not having to get beat up every day because somebody else got mad at you? Now, here's your second question. How did God save the people? The count of 3, yell it out really, really loud. 1, 2, 3. That was great. That was a great yell. I loved it. That's right. God saved the people by giving them a snake on a pole to look at. And if they would look at it, they would get all better. Now, third question. And this is really, really, really important. And so you need to just think of the best answer you can think of and yell it as loud as you have ever yelled anything before. What has God done to save us? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Keep going, keep going. Yell more stuff, yell more stuff, yell more stuff. Now, if you haven't finished answering the question, that's okay. Take some time maybe and talk to your parents about it, about what God has done to save us. When I think about me, God has forgiven me for all the bad stuff that I've done and even for the bad stuff that I'm going to do because he loves me. And the way that he did that was he gave me Jesus. And Jesus died on the cross, and because I asked him to be my Lord and my leader, he's taken away all of the bad stuff in my heart and all of my sins. And I am really, really, really thankful for that. So remember, who can we trust? We can trust God to take care of us. I hope all of you have a great, great, fun, and safe week. Make sure that you love your parents and tell them thank you for letting you watch the video this morning. And let's finish up with an awesome prayer this morning. Dear Jesus, thank you for all of the ways that you show us how much you love us, especially with all of the amazing animals that are out in this world. Thank you for the stories that are in the Bible, and we remember that while there are things that happened long ago, God, there are things that really did happen because you really do love us. Thank you for sending Jesus to save us and to give us the chance to be forgiven for the things that we don't do to please you. Thank you for the chance to please you and for the love all around us all the time. Please keep us safe and keep our hearts and our minds and our ears open to all of the beautiful things that you want us to see. In your name I pray. Amen. Bye, kids.